Hey guys, welcome to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast YouTube channel. As you noticed, we're kind of doing a little bit of different things. There's Live Counterflow that's coming. Live Counterflow is really our heart. It's really what as we've been in the financial world, as we've been building Wealth Wisdom Financial, we've really wanted to go upstream. We've really wanted to move upstream and say, okay, how do we help people whenever we know the financial system is broken and a lot of the things that we do for ourselves or even in business goes against what we really want. And so we wanted to go upstream, which is hence why Counterflow has been built, hence why we've been doing Profit Planning Network and all the other things. And so you'll be seeing a lot more about Counterflow as we evolve, as Wealth Wisdom just continues to build and change. But today, I'm really excited to dive in with a friend of mine, Neeka Williams, who runs a urology company of all things, right? We don't like to talk about urology, or at least guys like me don't. We like to avoid that stuff as much as possible. I think it's important to talk about. But she joined PPN, Profit Planning Network, and wanted to grow her business and grow the influence for them to help more guys, right? And so I'm really excited to interview her, kind of like a testimonial video. She's been one of the early adopters into Profit Planning Network, and I'm really excited for her to share her story and for you to hear her story and why you should be, if you're a business owner, why you should consider Profit Planning Network and all the stuff we do with Counterflow and Wealth Wisdom. So, Neeka, thanks for joining us. You've been on our wild journey. You've seen us change going. I think you came after, like a couple years after we had the coffee shop, but you've been a part of Amanda's community for a while. So, tell us, who are you? How did you end up connecting to us? And give us a little backstory if you.
So Neeka Williams, like you said, I am the practice administrator for a urology practice, and the way I actually got to Amanda is I kind of think differently about money. And I remember kind of listening. I think I was listening to Mark Willis's podcast, and then you all
Nice.
were like a part of that community. And we were looking at different ways of kind of using our personal finances in a better way. And that's how I got on the discovery call with Amanda. And we just clicked, right? The way you all think about money and the way we thought about money just kind of meshed. And it was interesting because I have always thought that I think differently than like most people do about money. And I'm always the one that's like, that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. You ought to be able to do it this way. And why should you have to do it that way? And so when I met with Amanda and she was kind of speaking that same language, I was like, I think I found my people. And so we started with our personal finances, and then I was just eating up everything you all had, looking at podcasts, watching, in the network and all those different things. And then when you all put out the Profit Planning Network, I was like, ooh, not just my personal, but my business too. So
Yeah.
jumped in on that one because, like you said, just thinking counterintuitively about money and really trying to figure out what's the best way to kind of proceed with the business when you don't want to do it like everybody's always said you have to do it. And having that network kind of there and offer it, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's something that we need to explore. That's something that we need to explore. And so we jumped in early, first year, and it's been a great ride so far.
Yeah, what has been your experience? I know. So again, you align with us
Hmm.
um, personally and some of those philosophy. And as we built PPN, we've thought about, we were business owners, right? We used to own a coffee shop,
Right.
and people would say, "Oh man, you really love this stuff," and we would sacrifice our personal life for our business, or vice versa. Business is great, but our personal life is bad.
Right.
And so PPN came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
What has been some of your experience or things that you've
Mm-hmm.
learned, um, not just from a personal side financially, and hopefully we've helped in that
Absolutely.
regard, but with
Mm-hmm.
PPN, what has that opened up for you?
So PPN has really helped with the thoughts in my head. So as business owners, you think about a lot of things a lot, but you don't really take the time to think about what you're thinking about. And
Mhm.
PPN has kind of given voice to some of the thoughts and given some structure as to how to walk out those thoughts and a sounding board, with the group coaching and what have you, of other business owners who are not in your industry, so they don't have the same bias as you do,
Yeah,
things like that. And so they can give you insight that show you your blind spots, right? Give you some options that you probably didn't think of because you're in the business. No, that's never going to work, or you just didn't think about it because who does that in your area? And then having that group component and being able to have people who are in business just like you, but are in different businesses, uh, kind of
yeah,
give you insight as to, hey, have you ever thought about this? Because you don't have the same bias as you have, right? And then being able to take that input and then think through that. Now, how would that actually work in our business?
yeah,
And then see, well, maybe not that way, but if we tweak it just a little bit, hey, I think I can do that. Because having, I mean, in our group, we have a real, I'm getting advice from, a guy who buys and sells property. We deal in people
yeah,
over here, so it's completely different. But, the ideas are great because businesses business owners think differently sometimes. And what kind of brought me into PPN versus some other group, um, is everybody was always saying the same thing, right? You've got to go into
yeah,
debt to have a business. You've got to, spend money to make money. You got, it's all this output for just a little bit of input. And, you look at
yeah,
statistics and you're like, if everybody's following that advice and more than half of the small businesses that start close within a certain amount of time, then that's probably not the good insight that you want. And so I'm looking at PPN and they're like talking a different language and a different approach, and it's worth it, right, to at least try that because you already see what's happening with the other stuff. You see people just going out of business and they got debt, just outrageous. They can't hardly, get themselves paying the
hmm,
bank, and those types of things. So I'm thinking this is worth a try. And it has been more than worth it because, like I said, it kind of helped me to ground those thoughts, but also a framework within which to work, knowing that I'm thinking counterculture, right? So it's like I
yeah,
don't feel like we have to have, a line of credit that you exhaust every month and you just paying the minimum payments back on it and things like that, that you can literally with profit planning network be profitable the first day.
yeah. Well, and so you just told me like what you did before, and then your decision to make the jump
Hmm.
in, and some of your thought patterns. Now, what's interesting for me is, we Amanda wrote a book, the Five Smooth
Hmm.
Stones book that's behind me, and some of this has been, hey, this is just, hey, set your sights, track your in and out, do the inspect your
Hmm.
progress. And some of it, I'm like, why are we creating a course about this? Shouldn't everybody be setting their sights? Like, shouldn't they all be thinking through that?
Hmm.
But as you've walked through this, stepped into PPN, and we've been using that still method
Hmm.
and thinking time
Hmm.
there, how has that changed for
Hmm.
you, even being in a community with PPN? Because you could do this, like you could do it without
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
community. But what has this like framework helped you and even your
Hmm.
husband do because of it?
I think being more consistent, right? Because you have that accountability.
Hmm.
We have the group coaching times. You're expected to show up because I mean, you paid for it. You need to show up to get the
Yeah,
benefit for it, right? You got one-on-one coaching time. you got, that accountability was absent from the book, right? So I can buy the book. I had the book, was working, and I worked through the book for my personal finances. And oh, you can, you know, do it for the business and all that, but nobody's checking on you. So yes,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can fool yourself, and I've done that in many things in my life. You fool yourself. You're like, I get this book, I'm going to, rule the world by the end of the time I get this book, and then you get halfway done with it, you fall off track, you get distracted, you do something else. So
Yeah.
having the network, having the emails that come out on a regular basis that give you, food for thought. Hey, you might want to start thinking about this. It's summertime, but start thinking about the end of the year. And you're like, right, you're right. That's something that I need to be thinking about before December 15th, you know. So having that network for that accountability, I think is important because you can always buy a book
Yeah.
or a, self-guided course online. What you get out of it is what you're going to put, whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, but you never have that accountability. So having, I think, that network and people who are expecting you to show up to the meetings, who are, you're sending emails, you're responding, you've got homework, all these different things to keep you on top
Yeah.
of what you all have kept me on top of what I said we wanted
Yeah.
for our business, right? So it's these things came out of my mouth. These were our heart's desires, but you keep me accountable to me, right? And so it's
Yeah.
not me being accountable to you just showing up, but it's you're helping me to get to the point that I said I wanted to get to. So I think that that's the difference, right? Because I can read a book or I can say, "Hey, I'm going to do this
Yeah.
course," but who's keeping me accountable to me?
Exactly. And I mean, again, I could keep going on and on, but I want to make sure that people understand, hey, as you're growing a business is hard.
Yes.
Life is fast. Even with and allowing the thinking time and all
Mhm.
that stuff. And I love what Amanda wrote with the still. It's hard for me to stop and be still, and she keeps me grounded.
Mhm.
And did you said this? We're married, so that happens. But now this year, and I want to hear what you've learned
Mhm.
too. In this year, we haven't only had just running business as usual. We've had inflation. We've had deflate. I don't even know whatever. We've had zombies almost. I feel like, and AI has come on the scene, which it didn't when we started PPN a year ago. It was new. It was fairly
Mhm.
starting, and we people were doing things, but now we've learned a
Mhm.
lot. We've helped you guys, or we've learned. We've transitioned out. What have you learned about
Mhm.
AI and these
Mhm.
tools, specifically maybe the financial nervous system tool,
Mhm.
that has helped you embrace
Right.
this new world we're in? We're all in this crazy
Right.
world of video, weird, what's real, what's not. I don't know.
Right.
How's that embraced and changed for you over this past year?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, kind of coming into it, AI was not even on my radar. Folks had asked me, oh, how are you planning? Because it was just coming up and, here, there, what have you.
Mhm.
And people were like, well, how are you going to use AI, in your practice? I'm like, who uses AI in a practice? You see
Yeah.
patients, you take care of the people in front of you, you build the insurance, you keep, you just keep moving. And but having that AI component and being able to take, like the assessments for the financial nervous system or what have you, and getting my archetype, it was fascinating to me when I read, my archetype. I was like, no, that really is me. Like, this is
Yeah.
spot on who I am and the desires that I have, and the particular archetype that I have. It basically tells me that I'm the type of person who likes to build security. Like, I will plan in order to not be surprised, with finances. And then looking at the fact that I'm like in this program, that's part of who I am, right? I need
Hmm.
a process that helps me to plan and get the things done that need to be done so that we don't deal with surprises as if life doesn't throw you surprises. You're gonna have them, but being
Right.
more prepared for them. And like you said, day to day, life comes at you pretty fast, and it helps when some things are already kind of on automatic.
Yeah.
And having the AI component, knowing that, okay, I need this type of system, working with you all to kind of create the system that I need so that those things can be on autopilot, right? So we walk away from the business for a week, literally walk away from the business for a week. I did not look at a checking account. I didn't look at, any of the numbers or anything, because it was set up such that by the time I come back in 8 days, nothing will have imploded. There
Right.
won't be a situation, to deal with, no emergencies or anything like that, where I'm not sure that that would have been the case last year this time, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
amazing.
don't think I would have
Yeah.
been as at ease just saying, you know what? It's at a good place. We can literally walk away. The doors can be shut. Have the answering service answer all the calls. We come back and nothing, nothing bad happened. And I think that, that's a dream come true for most small business owners, that you can't walk just not do anything with the business for a week because you feel like, the world will end. Something will implode, but
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
having the system in place, having built up for the last 11 months, really gave us that opportunity to kind of not have to worry about it.
Yeah. I think again, as we've thought about this and built it, there's three things that I always tell every business
Mhm,
owner and entrepreneur to have. And one is know that that you're called to it, because things happen and you better be
yeah,
ready to fight for it, because it gets hard. And you could pick any other thing. So know that um, have a team around you
mhm,
that cares more, not just about you and your business and your output, but all areas. Again, you
mhm,
and the
mhm,
business, and so have that team that's helped us overcome many
mhm.
obstacles. And then know your numbers, whether it's marketing numbers and your financial numbers, and your marketing numbers can impact your financial numbers. And so when we do coaching, oftentimes we're talking about profit first
Mhm,
and cash flow and AI, but we end up going into marketing. Could you, like, if you had a story, any kind of story that comes to mind where you're just like, oh, that came out of left field,
mhm,
that maybe I know Amanda's really good at this stuff, that you're like, oh wow, the AI is new.
mhm.
That was one thing, but is there anything that you can think of that you're like, hmm, that was that is a revolutionary thought that changed my business?
I think the AI was a really big part of that, and just understanding how to integrate it. Because, like I said, last year this time I was like, who needs that? In a medical practice,
Mm,
like, why would I do that? And but one of the things I think that, um, although we talk about steel and all those things, one of the things here recently that Amanda and I were talking about is just that opportunity to reflect on this last 12 months.
hmm
And not only just looking at the number reflection, but reflect on the feelings of, what were you feeling in some of these spaces in the last 12 months? What were you feeling 12 months ago when you joined, and how do you feel like
Yeah.
now? And, what were the high points, the low points, and what were those feelings? And using that information to kind of guide you into, or guide us into, okay, well, how do we want to feel now?
hmm
And I think that but we don't think about what we're feeling a lot of times, right? You kind of feel it, you put it in the back pocket, and you trudge on through to the next thing as a business owner. But sometimes you need to sit in that that thought and that feeling to see, one, why am I here? And two, is this good or bad? And if it's good, how do we replicate it? If it's bad, how do we eliminate it? Kind of situations. Like you said, every day can be different no matter what your systems are in a business. You're dealing with if you're dealing with people to be able to those feelings because we always everybody talks about numbers, right? Anybody who's coaching business owners or whatever, we're talking about numbers. But we don't talk enough about the emotions involved. And it's as if you have to hide those emotions. If you're a good business owner, you just kind of
Yeah.
plow through and you don't worry about those emotions. No room for emotions in business. But in truth, if you really take the time to feel those emotions, they'll guide you into those spaces that you need to go into for the numbers, right? So I think that that's one
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
things here recently that she was kind of encouraging us to do is, feel the feels, as you're reflecting on the different things and then allow those feelings to kind of guide your next steps. And as you're planning for next year, where I don't believe I've heard that, in other business coaching and stuff like that. You get to look at your numbers. Where were you last year this time? Where are you this year this time? It's kind of situation, but really bringing that
Yeah.
whole person into your business because you take your whole person into your business.
Yeah. I think that's again thinking about the whole idea of what we created PPN and that business and that whole person.
Mhm.
Now, what would you tell someone who maybe they feel
Mhm.
overwhelmed? Maybe they're told just focus on
Mhm.
sales. If you do sales, that'll work.
Mhm.
Sales, sales, sales. That's the main mantra.
Right.
Or they feel embarrassed, or maybe even unsure about joining.
Mhm.
And as you're thinking about those
Mhm.
people, who do you think PPN is perfect for? Like, who would you think that this is really important for?
I think it's important for the business owner who's tired of the same old, right? Just running on the wheel as a hamster. Um, and in like in your heart of hearts, there's more. And it's
Mhm.
like there's got to be more to this. I didn't go into business just to barely survive. I got
Yeah,
into my own business because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to take care of my family. I wanted to take part in my community. That type of business owner who is frustrated because all the dreams that they
yeah,
had of having a business is not what they have at the moment. I think that PPN is for them because it helps you to focus on what's important, which is everything, but not all at once. Right? It's the whole person, it's the whole business, it's not just sales. Because if you increase sales, you got to think about the expenses that go with it. There's a counterbalance to everything. And if you just plow into one thing and you don't think about that counterbalance, you're going to be off on the left side in the ditch somewhere. And so I think that PPN works well for the business owner who is frustrated with the same old. It's just like you're getting up, you're doing the same thing every single day. You're not your dream of what owning a business was is not what you're living. I think PPN is
yeah,
where you need to be because, like I've told many people, I said people don't go into business to fail. I didn't. Like, I don't think you
right,
and Amanda went into business thinking, yeah, I'm gonna open up this business just to fail. You you go into business so you can be profitable, so you can have a positive impact in your community, so that you can some people so they can pass on legacy, all of these things, but you just don't know how. And what, you know, Wall Street says and what the business guru says, and you've tried it all and it's still not working. It's time to try this. And, for us, like I was like, ooh, the investment that's required.
yeah,
But then you think, hey, because it's intuitive, you're like, hey, I want to be profitable, but now I got to spend some more money in order to be profitable. So it's counterintuitive. However, we've more than made that money back, right? We've
yeah,
more than made that back because it gives you, like I said, you're not skewed. You're balancing your journey. It's like you got this full
Yeah,
cart, and you can't have too much on the right side of the cart or the left side of the cart. You got to have it all balanced out. And I think the PPN has helped us to kind of balance this whole person of the business, right?
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, as we've built this or thought about it, and being um, licensed, Amanda and I are both like licensed
Hmm.
in tools. It's not always about the tools. It's sometimes about the heart,
Right.
right? And sometimes you have to have the right tools to advance the
Right.
heart. But knowing that it's bigger than that, and profitability strategies are
Hmm.
helpful. Where you put it is
Hmm.
important, and then in the end, we don't take any of it with us,
Right.
right? And so, how do we best live our best life
Right.
now? And that's something I think is
Right.
important. So,
One thing
um,
that you just said, both of you being certified in the things that you're training people in
mhm,
was very important to us. Because you got all these, TikTok gurus, YouTube gurus, you
mhm,
got all these people on, Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And they're opinionated. They are.
yep,
They're not um they're not certified to train dogs, cats,
yeah,
anybody. So
yeah,
it's like, you all actually having certificate and you continue to be certified. It's not like, oh, 10 years ago I learned this thing. You continue to, update your skill set and continue to be certified. And that is important to me. I think it should be, because work 10 years ago when somebody got certified in, whatever,
yeah,
gonna work right now because this environment that we're in is so dynamic, and the fact that you all continue to be updated and upgraded in all of the areas helps you to continue to be dynamic with it. And so that's important to us, because training me something on something that was great 10 years ago, but it is obsolete now.
yeah. I think about this is a crazy story. When we started our business, this was the coffee shop
Hmm.
business, and we were doing blogging,
Hmm.
and taking pictures of the every day. We would take pictures of different
Uh-huh.
things and put it on the blog. Um, you know what that is now? It's called Instagram.
Instagram.
And I was like, dude, we should have like created Instagram or something, but we were doing that. Now, if I would have said, do a blog every day now
Hmm.
and just post a picture in your blog, and that'll grow everything.
Right.
No, that's not going to work. Um, there's other things. And so, but having that experience of, hey, we got to figure out how do we get people in,
Hmm.
and changing the rules are still, hey, if people don't know you, they can't buy from you, and you have to figure out how to get out there,
Hmm.
and it changes. But knowing your numbers,
Hmm.
simple, and or is it?
Hmm.
Um, and all of those things. So I love that,
Hmm.
and man, I wished um, the school of running a business sometimes is the hard one.
Right.
Um, uh, it's great. It was a great
Hmm.
experience that I'll never run a coffee shop ever again. But now I want to ask this simple prompt.
Hmm.
Profit planning helped me to.
Hmm.
What did it help you do?
Um,
Say it again.
profit
Profit
planning helped
planning
me
helped me to.
Profit planning helped me to give voice to and direction to the thoughts that were already bouncing around in my head. I think that, as business owners, it's almost like, give you an example, like we run a medical practice, and for some reason,
Mhm.
people are embarrassed that they're sick or that they're in need of assistance from a doctor. Why should you be embarrassed? There are people who can help you. Doctors are here to help you. Business people are sometimes embarrassed that they're not yet profitable. Why should you be embarrassed? you didn't do the education to help yourself do that. Just like you didn't go to
Hmm.
medical school to help yourself get better, you go to the people who can help you. You go to the doctor when you're sick. We, as business owners, need to come to you, Brandon and Amanda, because you all have the skill set that can help us get to the point we need to be. So, profit
Yeah.
work actually helped me give voice to all the thoughts and things in my head and provide a structured process. I'm always looking for order of operation, a structured process to get to where I wanted to be. Just like when you're in need of losing some weight or something like that, you go to a nutritionist who can help you
Yeah.
plan your meals and help you understand what time of day you should eat, and when you how you should exercise and all those things based on you as a small business owner. I want to know, how can I be profitable? How can I plan for my future? How can I do these different things? Why do I feel like I should have all that information? You have the information, Brandon. You and Amanda have the information. I can come to you and allow you to help me walk it out. And so that's what Profit Planning Network helped us to do, kind of walk out. It's like you know you're supposed to be well when you go to a doctor. It's like, but how do I walk out getting well? You know you want to be profitable as a business owner. You come to Planning Network and they help you walk out the process to becoming profitable.
Awesome. That's awesome, Nika. And how, thanks again for being a part of our
Mhm.
community and helping others, right? As we build a community, it's just sharing others. Hey, this is how, kind of like in the Bible, one beggar, or no, John Wimber said
Mhm.
this, one beggar showing another beggar where to find bread.
Yes.
Um, and I want to be able to do that, is help more people
Mhm.
and help them thrive, not see a failure rate.
Right.
So uh, how can people find you, and what would your PSA be right now in your field of work?
So in our field of work, like I said, we have a urology practice. So of course, men like you, Brandon, we are encouraging you all first to get your annual exams, go to your primary care, get your annual exams, get your blood work and things like that. If you are in group, if you have a family history. We actually focus on cancers of the urinary system. So if you have a family history of cancer in the urinary system, whether it be prostate, kidney, any of those things, recognize that you probably need to get screened earlier. So we just would like for fellows to actually go to the doctor on a regular basis. If you're in a high risk group, start getting your PSA at age 40. If you're not in a high risk group, age 50 is fine. But we just want folks to do the screening early, right? It's like I said, it's kind of like running
There
a
you go.
business. You don't want to get into a problem and then seek help. We want to get everything
See,
in order up front before you have a problem. And so, like I said, our company is Urology Consultants Inc. We're on the web at urocoach.com. That's urocoach.com. And Dr. Williams is a great guy. I'm a little biased, but
yeah,
he is a
right.
great guy. He's had decades of experience in this area, and we're unique in a way that we kind of offer that specialized personal touch. Although we deal with cancer every day, the patient that's sitting in front of us, this may be their first time to have to deal with that diagnosis, and we want to make sure that they have somebody to help them walk through the process and understand what to expect and how to walk out it well.
Awesome. Well, Nika, thanks so much for being part of our tribe and community, and I can't wait for next year. So,
Excited.
yeah. So, guys, keep being profitable, keep growing your business, and make sure you get checked out if you're a guy.
Yes.
So, and that's all we got for the day. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Brandon and Neeka. This isn't meant to just be a promo for PPN, Profit Planning Network, but One of the big things to take away is if you are feeling stuck in anything, particularly though if you're feeling stuck as a business owner, just repeating the same thing over and over again, it's time to try something new. And if you're catching this episode when it comes live, one of those new things, an invitation for you, is to check out the Profit Planning Network. You can find all the details at livecounterflow.com. And in the header, you just click on Profit Planning Network, lots of information there. The main reason to check it out and think it through right now is because we only open enrollment once a year. And when this episode goes live, enrollment is open. You can join we have like 3 different membership levels. You could join at the lowest membership level and upgrade later if it makes sense, things like that. But we will close enrollment and no one will be able to join after enrollment's closed until we open it again, which there's no plans to do that until December of 2026. So at least go check it out. Again, livecounterflow.com. See how it speaks to you. Any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Brandon to talk about those. You'll actually see a link on that page where you can schedule a call to talk to us about it. We do have, if you go all the way to the bottom, something we call the Counterflow Calm Promise. That's our refund policy. So if you want to check it out and it ends up not working for you, what happens from there? So that's one of the main questions people have had is like, well, what if I don't get the value that you think that you claim I'm going to get from this? Well, we're very generous with our Counterflow Calm Promise, which you'll see at the bottom of that page. Okay, so this episode's also coming out in the holidays, so I hope whatever holidays you're celebrating, they are full of joy and peace, and you're getting some time to reflect on the year past and to look toward the year ahead. We have a really great episode. It is not a Profit Planning Network promo episode coming up for you next. So be sure you hit the subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss this one, where we share a little bit of what's happened with us this year, what's coming up next year, and how you can benefit from it. It's kind of our lessons learned-ish, but more of like, this is, if you do nothing else, this is what we hope you'll do going forward. Okay, we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great one and take care. Live long and profit.